Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! In the dimly lit confines of the office, a solitary figure remained devoted to deciphering the cryptic language of finance. Fluorescent insects buzzed overhead, their glow doing little to illuminate the sea of spreadsheets that adorned the desk. Camden, the picture of composure, seemed impervious to the stress that weighed on others. As if in a trance, he gently tapped the calculator, the click-clack marking time as he navigated through the labyrinth of numbers. The quarterly reports, looming in the coming hours, presented a challenge as the figures proved elusive. Then, the calm was shattered. "Camden, a word please," his superior called. The voice, belonging to the formidable Mr. Hargrove, resonated like a gavel, signaling a swift transition from calculation to confrontation. Camden, his movements measured, acknowledged the request, nodding at the disgruntled Mr. Hargrove didn't invite him to sit. The older man's eyes fixed on Camden's hands. "We need to discuss your appearance." Mr. Hargrove cleared his throat. "The nail polish needs to go, and whatever you've done to your face, is that makeup? This isn't a fashion statement kind of workplace. Anderson Financial has standards." Camden's stomach tightened. The subtle foundation, hint of mascara, and pink polish had been his small acts of authenticity in a world where he'd spent 32 years playing a role that never fit. "With all due respect, sir, my work performance is irrelevant if clients are distracted by—" Mr. Hargrove gestured vaguely at Camden's face and hands. "We're an accounting firm, not a beauty salon. Clean it up by tomorrow, or we'll need to reconsider your position here." Walking back to his cubicle, each step felt heavier than the last. Camden's reflection caught in a window. Dark auburn hair cut in the standard professional men's style, skin smooth from the carefully applied foundation, eyes that looked more alive with just that touch of mascara. But it wasn't enough. It had never been enough. That night, in his apartment, Camden stood before his closet, staring past the row of identical suits to the hidden section behind them. His fingers trembled as he pushed the suits aside to reveal the clothes he only wore in private. Floral sundresses, skirts in various styles, blouses in soft fabrics and colors. Clothes that made him feel like himself, like Willow. The name he'd chosen years ago, but only whispered to himself. He pulled out a cream-colored blouse and a burgundy A-line skirt, laying them on the bed. Then the strappy sandals he'd ordered online and only worn inside his apartment. His laptop sat open on the desk, the resignation letter half-written. It was time. No more hiding. No more pretending. By morning, the letter was complete. Camden sent it from his personal email, then shut down his work computer for the last time. The navy blue suit would be the last one he ever wore. 3 months later, Willow sat at her home office desk, auburn hair now grown out slightly and styled in a feminine bob. She wore a floral sundress that swirled around her knees and strappy sandals that showed off her freshly painted toenails, the same pink as her fingernails. The makeup on her face was no longer subtle. She'd embraced full foundation, eyeliner, mascara, and a soft rose lipstick. Her laptop displayed the website she'd created, Willow Financial Consulting. After years of handling accounts for others, she was putting her expertise to work for herself. The savings she'd accumulated would keep her afloat until she established a client base. The doorbell rang, and Willow took a deep breath. Her first client meeting. At home, on her terms, as herself. Opening the door, she greeted the middle-aged woman with a warm smile. Ms. Chen? I'm Willow. Please come in. Ms. Chen owned a local boutique and needed help organizing her finances. As they sat in Willow's living room with tea and spreadsheets, Willow waited for the questions, the stares at her appearance. But Ms. Chen seemed entirely focused on her business concerns. When Willow outlined a tax strategy that would save the boutique thousands, Ms. Chen beamed. You're exactly what I needed. My last accountant missed so many deductions. When can you start? Just like that, Willow had her first client. 6 months later, Willow's client list had grown to 15 small businesses. Her home office no longer sufficed for the workload. In a cream blazer and burgundy skirt, she toured a small office space downtown. Just 2 rooms, but it was a start. The realtor handed her the lease agreement. Ms. Rhodes, Willow corrected gently. Willow Rhodes. The realtor barely missed a beat. Of course, Ms. Rhodes, if you'll initial here and sign at the bottom. Willow signed her name with a flourish, the pink nail polish catching the light. It wasn't just a signature. It was a declaration. The office needed work, but within 2 weeks, Willow had transformed it. Gone were the sterile white walls and harsh lighting of Anderson Financial. Her space featured warm colors, comfortable seating for clients, and plants that thrived in the sunlight from large windows. Her degrees and certifications hung on the wall behind her desk, the name Willow Rhodes prominently displayed. Her client base continued to grow as word spread about her expertise, particularly among small business owners who appreciated her understanding of their unique challenges. Some clients did double takes when they first met her, especially those who came through referrals and hadn't seen her website with its professional headshot. But any initial surprise quickly gave way to respect as she demonstrated her knowledge. 1 year into her business venture, Willow hired her first employee, a recent accounting graduate named Devin, who needed flexibility for family obligations. She created a remote work arrangement that allowed him to handle the increasing workload while working from home most days. I don't care where you work, as long as the work gets done, she told him during the interview. Corporate rigidity benefits no one. Devin had grinned. That's refreshing to hear. By the 18-month mark, Willow's client list had tripled, and she'd hired 2 more remote employees. Her closet now contained a collection of professional dresses, skirts, and blouses in various colors, though she favored cream blazers for important meetings and burgundy for her skirts and dresses. Her auburn hair had grown past her shoulders, and she often wore it in a sleek ponytail or loose waves. The email from Anderson Financial came as a surprise. Ms. Rhodes, we've been impressed with your work for several mutual clients and would like to discuss a potential collaboration on larger accounts. Would you be available for a meeting next week? Richard Hargrove, CEO. Willow's hands hovered over the keyboard. The thought of seeing her former boss again sent anxiety spiraling through her chest. Would he even recognize her? Would he connect Willow Rhodes with Camden Wright, the employee he'd tried to force into conformity? After careful consideration, she replied with a professional acceptance of the meeting invitation. The morning of the meeting, Willow chose her outfit with particular care. A cream blazer over a silk burgundy blouse, paired with a matching burgundy pencil skirt and nude heels. Her auburn hair was styled in soft waves that framed her face, and her makeup was flawless but professional. The strappy sandals were reserved for more casual days now. Mr. Hargrove stood as she entered the conference room at Anderson Financial. His eyes widened momentarily, but his expression remained unreadable.
Ms. Rhodes, thank you for coming. I'm Richard Hargrove.
Willow extended her hand, pink nails gleaming under the lights that once made her feel so exposed. A pleasure to meet you, Mr. Hargrove. If he recognized her, he gave no indication. The meeting proceeded professionally, with Hargrove explaining that several clients had requested to work with both firms, Anderson for their corporate accounts and Willow's company for their small business interests. "Your reputation for innovative tax strategies is impressive," he admitted. "We'd like to establish a formal referral arrangement." Willow maintained her composure despite the irony of the situation. "I'm open to discussing it, provided my client's best interests remain the priority." As the meeting concluded and they stood to shake hands again, Hargrove's gaze lingered on her face. "Have we met before? Something seems familiar." Willow smiled. "I worked in corporate accounting for nearly a decade before starting my own firm. Our paths may have crossed at some point." She left without elaborating further. The past was behind her, and her future, on her terms, lay ahead. By the 2-year mark of Willow Financial Consulting, the company had outgrown its small office. With 5 employees, all working remotely most of the time, and over 100 regular clients, Willow leased a larger space with a conference room for team meetings and client presentations. The new office maintained the warm, welcoming aesthetic she'd established, rejecting the cold corporate environment she'd escaped. Plants thrived throughout the space, comfortable furniture invited collaboration, and natural light poured through large windows. On the day of the office warming gathering, Willow wore a floral dress in shades of cream and burgundy, her auburn hair swept into an elegant updo. Her employees, meeting in person for one of their quarterly gatherings, filled the space with conversation and laughter. Devin, now her operations manager, approached with a small gift box.
"From all of us,"
he said, presenting it to her. Inside was a nameplate for her desk, engraved in elegant script. "Willow Rhodes, founder and CEO." Emotion welled in her throat. "It's perfect," she managed.
"We wanted you to know how proud we are to work for you,"
Devin said. "You've created something special here. Not just a successful business, but a place where people can be themselves." The others nodded in agreement. Willow placed the nameplate on her desk, running her finger over the engraved letters. From pink nail polish deemed unprofessional to founding a thriving company, the journey had been challenging, but undeniably worth it. Later that evening, after everyone had left, Willow stood by the window overlooking the city. Her reflection smiled back at her, auburn hair catching the light, burgundy dress swaying gently as she moved, pink nails tapping thoughtfully against the glass. She remembered the day she'd resigned from Anderson Financial, the day Camden had walked out for the last time so Willow could emerge. She'd been terrified then, uncertain if she could succeed professionally while being true to herself. Now she knew the answer. Her phone chimed with an email notification. Another client referral, this one from Richard Hargrove himself. The message was brief. "Client specifically requested your services after hearing about your approach. Your reputation speaks for itself." Willow smiled. Success was the best response to those who had doubted her. The following morning, Willow arrived at the office early, dressed in a cream blouse and burgundy skirt. Her auburn hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, her makeup applied with the practiced hand she'd developed over the past 2 years. The strappy sandals had been replaced with more professional heels for office days, though she still wore them with sundresses on work-from-home days. Her calendar showed 3 client meetings and a video conference with a potential new client in another state. Word of her expertise had begun to spread beyond local boundaries. The first client, owner of a small but growing tech startup, arrived promptly at 9. They settled in the conference room with coffee and financial projections.
"I have to admit," the client said, "I was surprised when I realized you were the Willow my friends keep recommending. But after seeing these projections, I understand why everyone speaks so highly of your work."
My appearance and my expertise are separate matters, Willow replied smoothly, though I find I do my best work when I'm authentically myself. The client nodded thoughtfully. Makes sense. Being comfortable in your own skin probably clears mental space for focusing on the numbers. Precisely. By lunchtime, Willow had secured the tech startup as a client and finalized a tax strategy for an existing client that would save them considerable money in the coming year. She ate a quick salad at her desk while reviewing applications for a new position she'd opened. The business was growing enough to justify a 6th employee. The afternoon video conference went equally well. The potential client, owner of a specialty bakery 3 states away, had found Willow through a business forum where several of her clients had recommended her services. I need someone who understands small businesses, the baker explained. Someone who won't treat me like I'm not worth their time because my revenue isn't in the millions. Every business deserves professional financial guidance, Willow assured her. Size doesn't determine value in my practice. After the call ended with another client secured, Willow turned her attention to the applications. One in particular caught her eye, an experienced accountant with impressive credentials who had recently left a large firm. The cover letter mentioned seeking a more inclusive work environment. Willow scheduled an interview immediately. 2 days later, she greeted the applicant in the conference room. Marcus Chen had 15 years of experience at prestigious firms, but looked uncomfortable in his perfectly tailored suit. Your resume is exceptional, Willow began. But I'm curious, why leave Bennett and Associates after a successful decade there? Marcus hesitated, tugging at his tie. They had certain expectations about appearance and presentation that became increasingly difficult to meet. Willow nodded, understanding the unspoken message. Here's what you need to know about working at Willow Financial Consulting. We judge performance on results and client satisfaction, not on adhering to outdated dress codes or conforming to arbitrary standards. We're a remote-first company because I believe people work best when comfortable. The tension visibly drained from Marcus's shoulders. That sounds refreshing. It's simply good business, Willow replied. Authenticity breeds creativity and dedication. My most innovative tax strategies have come when I stopped trying to be someone I'm not. By the end of the interview, it was clear Marcus would be an excellent addition to the team. As they stood to shake hands, he seemed to be gathering courage for something. May I ask a personal question? He finally ventured. Willow nodded, having anticipated this moment. Was it difficult to establish professional credibility while also being so authentically yourself? Willow considered her answer carefully. The hardest part was taking the first step, choosing authenticity over security. But I discovered something surprising. Clients care far more about competence than conformity. My results speak louder than my appearance ever could. She gestured around the office. This exists because I stopped hiding who I am, not despite it. When you bring your whole self to your work, you bring your whole talent too. Marcus nodded, eyes bright with understanding. Thank you for that. I hope to contribute to what you're building here. We'll be in touch soon, Willow promised, already certain he would receive an offer. As summer transitioned to fall, Willow's company continued to thrive. Marcus had integrated seamlessly into the team, bringing valuable expertise from his corporate background while embracing the more flexible culture. The client list now included businesses from 12 different states, all managed through a combination of video conferencing and occasional travel. On a crisp October morning, Willow received an unexpected email. The National Association of Small Business Accountants has selected you as a finalist for our Innovative Practice of the Year award. Your nomination highlighted both your creative tax strategies and your progressive company culture. The awards ceremony will be held in Chicago next month." Willow read the email twice, hardly believing it. National recognition was beyond anything she'd imagined when starting her business. The ceremony would put her in front of the most influential people in her field. For a moment, old insecurities surfaced. Would they take her seriously? Would her appearance overshadow her accomplishments? She pushed those thoughts aside. Her success had already answered those questions. The night of the ceremony arrived with Willow wearing a floor-length burgundy dress that complemented her auburn hair, which she'd styled in an elegant updo. Her makeup was flawless, professional yet glamorous for the occasion. As she entered the hotel ballroom, heads turned, not in judgment, but in recognition. "Ms. Rhodes!" A woman approached, hand extended. "I'm Elaine Winters, chair of the awards committee. Your nomination package was most impressive." "Thank you for considering our firm," Willow replied, shaking her hand. "The innovation category isn't just about tax strategies," Elaine explained as they walked toward the seating area. "It's about reimagining what an accounting practice can be. Your remote-first model and focus on authenticity struck our committee as particularly forward-thinking." Throughout the evening, Willow met numerous colleagues who knew her by reputation. Some did double takes when making the connection between her name and her person, but conversation quickly turned to business strategies and client management. When the Innovative Practice Award was announced, Willow held her breath. "For creating a firm that redefines professional standards while delivering exceptional client outcomes, this year's award goes to Willow Financial Consulting." The applause was thunderous as Willow made her way to the stage, pink nails catching the spotlight as she accepted the crystal trophy. At the microphone, she spoke with confidence. "This recognition means more than I can express. When I founded my company, I believed that authenticity and professionalism weren't mutually exclusive, that we could reject arbitrary standards while embracing excellence. This award suggests I wasn't alone in that belief." She glanced around the room. "The accounting profession has long been defined by conformity, but our clients don't need us to look identical. They need us to think creatively on their behalf, and that creativity flourishes when we bring our whole selves to our work. Thank you for acknowledging that truth." The speech received a standing ovation. Later, mingling at the reception, Willow was approached by a familiar face that took her a moment to place, a former colleague from Anderson Financial. "I almost didn't recognize you," he said, "until I heard your voice during your speech. It's been, 3 years? You were Camden Wright back then, right?" Willow nodded, maintaining her composure. "Yes, though I go by Willow Rhodes now, professionally and personally." "Well, congratulations on the award, and everything else. You seem much happier." "I am," Willow confirmed. "Living authentically tends to have that effect." As she returned to her hotel room that night, trophy in hand, Willow reflected on the journey. From hiding behind masculine clothes and subtle pink nail polish to standing on a national stage in a burgundy dress, accepting recognition for a business built on her own terms. The next morning, emails and messages poured in. Congratulations from clients and colleagues, interview requests from business publications, even an invitation to speak at a conference on the future of financial services. One message stood out. "Saw the announcement about your award. Not surprised. You always had potential when you could be yourself." Hargrove. So he had recognized her all along. The acknowledgement, however brief, felt like closure on that chapter of her life. As Willow packed her suitcase, carefully placing her burgundy dress inside, her phone rang with a call from Devin. "Boss, you're not going to believe this. Since the award announcement, we've received 15 new client inquiries. And that accounting professor you met at the ceremony, She wants to establish an internship program with us for her students. Willow smiled. Set up a team meeting for tomorrow afternoon. Looks like we'll need to discuss expansion plans sooner than expected. Back in her office the following day, dressed in a cream blouse and burgundy skirt, Willow placed the crystal trophy on a shelf where clients could see it. Her auburn hair was pulled back in its usual workday style, her pink nails tapping thoughtfully on her desk as she reviewed growth projections. The quarterly team meeting, held in person for this special occasion, buzzed with excitement. All 6 employees crowded into the conference room, congratulating Willow on the award while also bringing ideas for managing the sudden growth. We could easily add another 10 clients with current staffing, Marcus suggested. But beyond that, we'll need to expand the team. Willow nodded. I'm thinking 2 new hires immediately, with infrastructure to support further expansion by spring. What about office space? Devin asked. If we're growing the team, even with remote work, we'll need more room for when people are on site. I've been considering that, Willow admitted. The adjacent suite is available. We could take over that space and create a larger conference area, plus additional offices for days when more of us are working in person. The discussion continued, with everyone contributing insights. This collaborative approach was central to Willow's leadership style, another departure from the top-down management she'd experienced at Anderson Financial. As the meeting concluded, she addressed the team. This award belongs to all of us. When I started this company, I wanted to create a place where people could do their best work by being their authentic selves. You've all made that vision a reality. The expansion proceeded rapidly over the following months. 2 new employees joined the team, chosen not just for their technical skills, but for their alignment with the company culture. The office space doubled, though the remote-first policy remained in place. By spring, Willow Financial Consulting was featured in a major business magazine under the headline, The Future of Work: How One Accounting Firm is Redefining Professional Culture. The article detailed not just the company's impressive growth, but its revolutionary approach to work-life integration and self-expression. It included a photo of Willow at her desk, auburn hair falling over her shoulders, wearing one of her signature cream blazers over a burgundy blouse, pink nails visible as she gestured during the interview. The old model of professionalism was built on conformity, she was quoted saying. But conformity stifles innovation. When we allow people to be themselves, truly themselves, we unlock their full potential. The article circulated widely in business circles, prompting discussions about dress codes, remote work policies, and the meaning of professionalism in the modern workplace. 3 weeks after publication, Willow received a meeting request from an unexpected source: the partners of Anderson Financial. The email was formal but revealing. In light of changing industry standards and our desire to remain competitive, we would appreciate your insights on creating a more inclusive workplace culture. Willow couldn't help but smile at the irony. The firm that had rejected her authenticity now wanted her advice on inclusion. She accepted the meeting. Walking into Anderson Financial felt surreal. 3 years had passed since she'd resigned, yet the office looked exactly the same. Sterile, formal, with employees in nearly identical suits hunched over their desks. The conference room contained all 5 partners, including Richard Hargrove, who rose to greet her. Ms. Rhodes, thank you for coming. I believe you're familiar with our firm. Quite familiar, Willow agreed, settling into a chair in her burgundy dress and cream blazer, auburn hair styled professionally. I worked here for nearly 10 years. Recognition dawned on the faces of the other partners as the connection became clear. For the next hour, Willow spoke candidly about the limitations of traditional corporate culture and the competitive advantage of authenticity. She presented data on how her firm's approach had improved client retention, employee satisfaction, and, ultimately, profitability. "The question isn't whether you can afford to change," she concluded. "It's whether you can afford not to. Talented professionals increasingly demand workplaces where they can thrive as their whole selves." As the meeting ended, Richard Hargrove walked her to the elevator.
"I owe you an apology,"
he said quietly.
"When you worked here, I was inflexible. I couldn't see past my own narrow definition of professionalism."
Willow regarded him thoughtfully. "Apology accepted. But I hope you understand. I wouldn't be where I am today if you had been more accepting then. Sometimes rejection leads us exactly where we need to go." The elevator doors opened, and Willow stepped inside, leaving her past behind once more. That evening, sitting on her apartment balcony with a glass of wine, Willow reflected on the full circle moment. The auburn-haired woman in the reflection of her window bore little resemblance to the person who had once hidden behind subtle makeup and pink nail polish, desperately trying to blend in while longing to stand out. Her phone buzzed with a text from Devin. "Final numbers for the quarter are in. We've doubled last year's revenue. Celebrating tomorrow?" Willow smiled and replied, "Absolutely. Team lunch. My treat." She set down her phone and took a moment to appreciate how far she'd come. From an accountant who had been told his pink nail polish was unprofessional to the CEO of a nationally recognized firm, all because she'd chosen authenticity over conformity. The journey hadn't been easy. There had been confused looks from potential clients, whispers at industry events, the occasional cruel comment online. But those moments had grown fewer as her reputation for excellence overshadowed any preconceptions about her appearance. More importantly, she'd created a space where others could be authentic too. Her team included people who had felt similarly constrained in traditional corporate environments. Not just Marcus, but others who had found freedom in Willow Financial Consulting's culture of acceptance. The next day, surrounded by her team at a celebration lunch, Willow raised her glass in a toast. To 3 years of growth, to national recognition, and most importantly, to the courage to be ourselves in a world that often rewards conformity. Everyone clinked glasses, the atmosphere warm with camaraderie and shared purpose. Devin leaned over.
"You know, when I first interviewed with you, I wasn't sure what to expect. But working here has changed how I see myself professionally. If you can build this kind of success while being true to yourself, what excuse do any of us have for holding back?"
Willow smiled, her pink nails tapping gently against her water glass. "That might be the greatest achievement of all, showing others it's possible." As lunch concluded and the team headed back to the office, Willow walked slightly behind, watching her creation in motion. These people, this business, they existed because she had taken a risk, because she had decided that her authentic self deserved to exist professionally as well as personally. The autumn sun caught her auburn hair as she entered the office building, burgundy dress swaying with each confident step. The nameplate on her office door gleamed. Willow Rhodes, founder and CEO. No more hiding, no more pretending, just success on her own terms, the most powerful statement she could make. Thanks for watching, my girlies! Be sure to check out Patreon for more!